Before I get your reaction to this news that all of the officers will be charged, tell me about why you felt this was so important to put this message out there.
We've came to the conclusion that it's to the best interest of our staff and patrons that unless there's a violent crime taking place, the authorities should not be called and will continue to police their own matters.
What does that say that you feel that this has to, that you can't trust the police unless you're talking about someone being physically threatened or injured?
Well, I do trust some of the police officers in our city because I deal with them firsthand and I have a good relationship with them. We're talking about the 4 officers that were involved in the tragedy that have yet to take accountability to what took place.
Absolutely.
Okay. And so as you learn now that they've been charged, can you tell us, or they're going to be charged? We're waiting right now for a news conference to come from the state attorney general, but we have just learned a new extraordinary development that Derek Chauvin is going to see that 3rd-degree murder charge be increased in severity to a 2nd-degree murder charge. This is a big development. He's facing a bigger charge, potentially a bigger penalty. Do you have a reaction to that?
I'm not going to comment on that. I'll let Jamar speak on that.
Well, as well as he should. Look, justice has to be served, and so we thought automatically from the beginning that how he didn't get charged with 2nd-degree murder was unfathomable, and the fact now that the Attorney General has done it, it goes a long way. Listen, the expeditious firing of these 4 officers spoke a lot, but what has to be taken into account is the fact that when black and brown men come in contact with officers, the fact that they may not leave with their life. When you look at the fact that the 6th leading cause of the black male's death here in Minneapolis is at the hands of the MPD, that's just crazy if you think about. And 44 people in the last 7 years have been rendered unconscious by a hold such as what this officer did to Floyd or to others. So we have to make sure that we keep the balance on what's going on with black and brown men when they come in contact with officers around the nation, not just here, but around the nation. There's plenty of George Floyd's. There were some probably last night. What's important is to make sure that these officers get the full charges that they due to them, and the fact that we bring justice to the Floyd family.
Mike, can you tell us, so the clerk in your store who contacted police, which as you've talked about is standard procedure, about suspicious or possibly counterfeit bills, clearly this is not what that clerk expected would happen. Can you speak to the thoughts of that clerk at this point in time, now that we see what ended up developing from this call?
There's very seldom times at our business where myself or one of the owners aren't there. When the tragedy took place, unfortunately, there wasn't any one of us there, and he thought there was a need to call the authorities, and that in itself should not have equated to the death and tragedy of George Floyd, and that's where the issue at hand lies, because if the authorities are called on any incident for that matter, it should never equate into a death sentence.